season football started last weekend. We played against the Chargers, and I actually was at the Raiders versus Chargers game in SoFi Stadium. This was like my second time in SoFi. I went last year with my buddy. We saw actually the Raiders versus Chargers, of course, last season, and that was the first game as well. And the first game last year, we were just god awful. That's when we had Gruden. I think that was at the time where everything was about to fall apart. They looked flat. I think the Bears was the actual game where like everything just went crashing down. But with the Raiders and Chargers last year in that game, they were just like there was no movement of the ball. They didn't really start getting things going until the second half of that game. So, oh man, same thing with the game last weekend with the Raiders versus Chargers. Now, I wanted this podcast, Just Win Baby podcast, this video is going to really kind of not dive into the statistics of things and stuff. It's just really talk about what this Raider team, the heart of it, of what to expect, maybe of like, personnel, of just overall the feeling of going into the Arizona Cardinals game. Now, I think watching the Chargers versus Raiders game, and a lot of people are going to point out that they didn't start any of their starters in preseason this year. And if you go watch Raiders Report, Mitch went on a rant saying that that does not matter if you think that the preseason was going to help. And I think there's like there's both arguments to playing a preseason and not playing a preseason. Watching the Raiders live at SoFi, Raiders versus Chargers, and seeing the difference between quarterbacks, man. I mean, you had Herbert and then you had Carr. Now moving forward through the season, with the Raiders now going against the Arizona Cardinals, and you got Kyrie Murray, you have an explosive Cardinals can be offense. I think they're not going to be very good this year, not compared because they really went downhill towards the end of last year. So this matchup is a great matchup for the Raiders, but if you are a longtime Raiders fan, you know that things are not always easy. Now, taking away what I saw in the Raiders versus Chargers was everybody else saw on television, but what I saw seeing it kind of live is a little different. It's seeing like how fast the plays go. You really are kind of right there, and Carr really got shook, man. I mean, remember Joey Bosa talking about how once Carr goes down, he just stops. He gets shook, he gets scared, and honestly, he did. He's throwing picks. He was only targeting Devontae Adams compared to like Justin Herbert, who Herbert was like, I think it was only his third year this year, was moving through the pocket, sliding. There's a difference between, and then Carr has been in the game longer, so it's very shocking to see all these weapons that Carr has, and he is still kind of regressing a little bit when he should be prosper. He should be prospering. I'm not saying he's going to be like Peyton Manning going to the Broncos and just really lighting, numbers up, breaking records, but the thing about Carr that we all love is he's efficient. He takes care of the ball at most times. I mean, he fumbled a lot last year. He did a lot of things bad in that first Chargers game. Now the Chargers defense is no joke. If you saw the KC and Chargers game too, you saw that these are teams. This is what we all expected. We all expected this division to be absolutely tough. So moving from the Chargers game, because that it is a glimpse to see what might happen going throughout this season and how things could either get really, really bad and really, really worse to really, really good and really, really positive. And what I love about just kind of what I love the thought that even though we lost that game, it was a reality check. Just because you have all these signings, just you have this new coach, shiny new car, does not absolutely mean we are here. It doesn't mean automatic playoffs. Like you got to fight for that. There are hungrier teams. There are hungry teams that want this. You need to want this, and you need to show like Carr needs to be better. He needs a great game against the Arizona Cardinals. There's no mistake about it. Everybody knows that he needs to bounce back. If he doesn't bounce back and he's throwing 3 picks, he's fumbling the ball, this is a absolutely terrible sign. That means we really don't have a backup. We never really invested in a backup to take over Carr. So Derek Carr is the guy. He is the guy that's supposedly supposed to lead us to the promised land, and I still believe in him. I still think he can. But it's not just on him as well. It's of course the offensive line. So notable injuries. You got Perryman out, our linebacker. Oh my God, this guy is. There's a reason why he's a captain. We just extended him, I believe, not too long ago. And this guy, is going to be sorely missed in that lineup. But I am excited to see a lot of these young guys, these rookies come up. Like I believe his name is Masterson. He did just phenomenal work in the preseason. So I'm absolutely looking forward to see what he does in here. I think I think he could be a stud. I think he could really having this opportunity. I really think he's going to make the most of this opportunity. I'm absolutely excited to see how this guy plays. The center conversation, right? You have Andre James out. You have this was it Dylon coming in. I believe he's a rookie, and he's going to take the center snaps. He's going to be the starter. The offensive line is a mess. We all know it's a mess. I really don't understand why we didn't get any signings even after like having after the preseason. We didn't sign anybody. We didn't sign anybody else really on the offensive line. That's Daryl Williams, I believe, is still out there. So it was either Josh McDaniels thought, hey, we're good, we're ready to roll. Obviously, I think the offensive line in the first game, they weren't absolutely garbage, but they gave Carr time. It's just the problem is Carr never stepped up. Like when you see tape on Herbert, when Herbert is stepping up and he's sliding to the left, he's sliding to the right, he's throwing dimes on the move. Carr wasn't doing that, which is surprisingly because we know Carr can do that. He was doing that towards the tail end of last year. He was stepping up, especially the revenge game against the Chargers to send them packing. He was stepping up. He was making that dime throw to Zay Jones, man. He stepped up in the pocket. So Carr needs to step up. Absolutely needs to step up, like physically and also mentally in this next game. Because just because the Arizona Cardinals look bad and they don't look like this threat, this big offensive threat without Rondale Moore, you don't have DeAndre Hopkins. That doesn't mean anything. That means that Kyler Murray could run on you as well. I really am confident in this defense, though. I think the defense is the one great aspect that we saw in week 1. In week 2, I think Crosby was so freaking close to Herbert. Crosby was a madman that first game. Don't let the stats fool you. Just because he didn't record a sack doesn't mean he wasn't doing work. He was flying all over the field. A lot of QB hurries. Chandler Jones is the one that really needs to step it up. This guy, bringing him in, and he did nothing to really help Crosby in that first game. I think Jonathan Abrams, man, he could have a monster game this game. Hopefully he's not super reckless that he usually is, and he could stay healthy and really contribute to his team like he did in week 1. No Morrig. Morrig is not back there. We just signed. I always forget this guy's name that we just signed. But Morrig is gone, and I think this is a promising second year for Morrig, and him being injured is a big blow. Injuries are throughout the whole NFL, but with the Raiders, it just seems it comes in such the wrong time, especially since we're going to start to gain momentum. So there's going to be the whole question is, is Carr going to have a great performance? He needs to pass it. He needs to pass it around, not only targeting Davante Adams, who is a stud. I get it. This guy was catching him, caught it for a touchdown. This guy was a beast. But you're trying to get Waller in the game as well, which he missed the touchdown in the first game. But with Waller, man, Waller should be eating up yards, should be scoring a couple TDs. Here's what I've been noticing. So statistics won't tell you this, but in the first game, here's another issue with the Raiders is if they want to win games, if they want to really, really win games and not even have to go down to the last second, the last minute, overtime or anything like that, they must do better in the red zone. The first week, there is still struggles in the red zone plays and just in general. I don't understand how Josh McDaniels, when you have Josh Jacobs towards like the end of the third quarter, really warming up with his runs. And yes, the running game wasn't amazing week 1, but Josh Jacobs was really kind of chugging along, really warming up, really going to hit that Super Saiyan 1. But No, we do plays where Carr's throwing it and throws a costly interception. When you know you should be running the ball. I mean, if it's working, then keep dialing that up. And I know Josh Jacobs really wants to run that ball. He says it. He knows he's a team player. He wants to do what the coach wants him to do. He wants to win, but he knows he can help this team a lot by chugging along. The thing is, Josh Jacob is no Christian McCaffrey, all right? But what he is he's a hard runner, gets those strong, those much needed yards. Sometimes he's stopped in the goal line, but sometimes he just really punches it in. There was an instance in week 1 where he could have ran it in, but he slipped. And that's kind of like that's kind of like if a running back is getting thrown a perfect ball wide open and they have all the room in the world and then they drop it. That was basically Josh Jacobs in week 1. Just because he did that mental error, I think you need to still hand him the ball. And you do have Zamir White. I would love to see what this kid could do because he looked really good in preseason. But if you're really banking on Josh Jacobs, if this is the year where you didn't even extend him or anything like that, this is the last year of Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs wants to prove not only to Raider Nation and to his coaches, but maybe if we do let go of Josh Jacobs to some team out there that he is a valuable running back in the game today. He hasn't gotten that opportunity. Honestly, obviously, I don't think he got that opportunity in week 1. They should have still handed the ball off. We need a balance. This next game, we have a lot of awesome weapons. We have Hunter Renfrow, we have Waller, we have, of course, Devontae Adams. But you can't just you have to still stick with your guns in your game plan where it has to be a balance. Yes, eat up some of the clock, pound with the rock, run the ball, get this defense tired. And once you get the defense tired, dude, Waller's going to be open so much in this upcoming game if they do the right things and balance the attack. Now, of course, the question is the offense of line's going to hold up? Are they going to be able to make running lanes? Are they able to protect Carr? This is the biggest question going into the Arizona Cardinals game, but the beauty of it's home. It's home turf. Hopefully it's home turf. Hopefully there's not a lot of Arizona Cardinal fans there, but home field advantage is such a big deal, man. It's such a big deal. And when the Raiders start feeling it, the crowd starts feeling it, and we start doing good things. Of course, the turnovers need to stop. I mean, with Carr, I believe he fumbled as well in the week 1. Like, everything's going to rely on Carr. Derek Carr is the leader of this team. Derek Carr is getting asked a lot of these questions. Derek Carr, all eyes are on Derek Carr. But I think all eyes should be also on our coach, Josh McDaniels. I think, like I said, the red zone plays were still not very good. I think the questionable moves, the trick play that he did, that was just absolutely ridiculous. Let's not do trick plays this second game. Let's actually just be a hard-nosed football team and run the rock and get this defense tired and also throw the damn ball, but in accurate pinpoint passes here. But it's all going to rely on the lines, in both lines too. I think the defensive front line needs to show up. I mean, with Kyler Murray, I just really don't. Arizona, we should smash on Arizona on paper. We should smash them. They're not that great of a football team. Kyler Murray is not that great of a quarterback. He's good. He's just not like the problem I guess everybody always had with him was his height, and that does play a disadvantage sometimes. The defensive line, I hope, have their hands up most of the game because if this guy's going to be throwing, I hope these are batted passes. Batted passes go a long way. Just because you're not getting the INT, batted passes are moving those downs, baby, without them moving. So, they have, I believe, James Conner, right? James Conner, the running back in Arizona Cardinals, and he's a hard-nosed runner. I didn't see any injury. He usually is injured most of the time, but I didn't see no injury report on him. What's crazy is that we traded Trayvon Mullen, which we absolutely probably needed. So these are questions that has to be directed to the head coach too. Like, why would you get rid of Mullen when he could be, even if you're not going to use him, he could be a good, a depth chart player. And he was one of the best kind of, coming out, passing rate, well, not passing rate, but overall, going against, the offense, he was doing his job. So trading him away to Arizona Cardinals to essentially get nothing is still baffling to me. It's absolutely baffling to me. So he's questionable. We don't know if he's going to be playing in the game as well. And then of course you have Chandler Jones. Man, Jones has he says it's an everyday game. It's another game. Another game. No, this is hands down. He is going to want to eat. He's going to want to prove to the Cardinals that he is where he needs and wanted to be the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but he's here, and we're a competitive team, and we're a better team than you. He wants to throw it in the face of the Cardinals. So week 1, very quiet. Week 2, I expect him to be very loud, and I see some stats on his resume at the end of week 2. So the Raiders. All right, we're talking about Raiders, and just overall, just talking about how this team looks, how this team, where this team can go, how we feel about this team. I mean, obviously, Davante Adams. It's great to see him just getting all the work and just really playing to that potential that we think he could still play at. And him and Carr have that chemistry. Of course, he was forcing some of the balls in, but let's get Hunter Renfrow in. Hunter, Renfrow, the third down Renfrow. These goal lines should be focused on Hunter as well. Hunter is such a great route runner that I'm surprised that we don't have a lot more goal line or red zone plays for this cat. And if we do, I think maybe Carr switched the plays and went to another way. And of course, we were talking, Waller and stuff. I just think that this Raiders team overall, they have a chip on their shoulder. Getting a lot of praise before the game started, before week 1. They were getting praised of how they were probably winning the division, this and that. A lot of feeding of their ego. Now with the Raiders, it's always, making themselves harder. Even though this, you could say the Cardinals, you could even say if they were playing the Jaguars or the Texans, they always play to their level. And I don't think this is going to change. What I really like is not too many penalties that's going on with this Raiders team. The less penalties, the better chances of us winning, but us winning in maybe an easier fashion. There is times where Raiders have the potential to be up 2 touchdowns, 2 scores, score and a field goal. They have the kicker, especially with the distance. They have the ability to not be able to either try to come back or just play these crazy ending kind of games where last drive. They have the ability to be much more than that. They need to be a well-balanced team, and they have that. Now, the injuries are going to be a plague, but it's a plague for everybody. That shouldn't be an excuse. The thing that they should have is they should be out-coaching these coaches. They should be outplaying these players. They should be, the line is what it is. At least Carr should be throwing quick. We should have plays that Carr, screen plays, quick to Waller, quick to Hunter Renfrow, some slants. We should have quick plays ready if the offensive line is absolutely struggling. I do like the fact that Carr is pushing it down the field. I think we all agree that he just plays it way too safe. But if he's going to push it down the field, he needs to make ideal choices. Of course, with Hunter Renfrow, that pass he threw for interception was so forced in there. So the Raiders have all the abilities, all the tools to really defeat the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to be coming in, and they're not going to just sit down and lay there and take it, man. They're going to be in Vegas. Everybody wants to be in Vegas, but it's not an easy game whatsoever. It's not an easy game for the Raiders. It's not a quick W. It's a hard fought. Every game in this season is going to be a hard fought game. They have one of the toughest schedules of the season. And with this Raider team, with everything that happened last year, and now having something new, and it's going to take a while, man. It's going to take a while to gel. It's going to take a while to really get this nucleus going, because this is new coach. This is new plays. This is new era. This is new Raider football, and I don't expect them to get everything together, especially with week 1. But with that offensive line and how they looked, and with Carr's playing ability, I expect adjustments. Like halftime, I expect adjustments coming into this second game. So what I predict on the Raiders and Arizona Cardinals game is that Derek Carr is going to have a good game. Is he going to have a blowout 5-touchdown type game? No, he's going to have, I'm hoping he throws 3 TDs, or at least we get the run game going and Josh Jacobs is killing the Arizona Cardinals defense. I would love the run game to really, really, and I think that's going to be a major factor, man. I think that's going to be the difference between week one and that's what's going to go on to week two is the run game is going to be more heavily involved. And that's should be really good because even though you have all these weapons, that gives the defense to stay honest, and that gives a lot of play action. That gives a lot of maybe screen work as well. Just if you're gonna do very not trickery plays, but if you're gonna do some unique kind of plays, this is play it kind of safe and play it where you lean to your strengths, getting the ball to one of your superstars and letting them do work, but establishing the run for every NFL team is the number one thing. And I think for this line, just really being kind of a mess and having a new center taking snaps, I think to play it safe and to really drive home, lose time and just really come out with that W, you need to establish that run. You need Jacobs who wants to prove himself. If you have a player who wants to get out there and get those yardage, let's use him. Let's do it. Let's see what he can do. And just don't give up halfway through your plan. If it's not working at first, you got to keep going. You got to keep establishing that, especially if it's a 0-0 type game, if it's a very close game. If it's a blowout, obviously you have to throw the rock. But if it's a close game throughout the whole quarter, all 4 quarters, run the ball, keep establishing that run, and then start throwing it. It's very simple. It's very easy. But the red zone has to get better. There was a beautiful drive. Raiders were just going down the field against the Chargers. And the Chargers, I believe their defense is way better than Arizona Cardinals. The Chargers defense is monsters, man. And for us to just move like that has to be established for this game. So it's all I'm looking at. Of course, Derek Carr, I'm looking at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 250 yards, but at least not turning over the ball. Please do not fumble the ball, Carr. I'm looking for the line. I got to see how this line performs, especially when we're running the ball. They need to create lanes, and they need to have better don't go brute strengths line. Go technique. If you can't beat the guy in front of you with just overall strength, beat him with your mind. So just be smart and no penalties, please. If we don't have any penalties in this game, this makes it much easier, not only for the line, but for the Raiders in the whole, because we've seen so many times, and I get it, the refs are not with us. We had a couple calls in the first week, especially the roughing the passer that was obviously not roughing the passer. It is what it is. Or there was a couple other ones too where the Chargers got away with. So I get it. The Raiders and refs, they're never going hand to hand, but just not doing the stupid mistakes, not blowing their top off, I think goes a long way. Josh McDaniels is still a question mark to me. Like, he's still a coach that I don't know about. Like, maybe I wanted Bisaccia more than Josh McDaniels, but this guy is the second time coaching, a Belichick tree branch basically, and he's supposed to be a genius mind. Of course, the offense coordinator, him working with Brady and stuff. We gotta look at the coach specifically too and see what he does with the things with a lot of kind of like stuff that might happen during the game. And we absolutely saw that with the butchery of the Broncos coach and what they do and how important a coach's role really is. So we'll see how that goes. Carr, the line, the run game, McDaniels. I'm really not all too worried about the defense. I think the defense looked really solid week 1. So I'm not going to say look at the defense. Obviously, to me, as a Raider fan, if the defense is god-awful garbage, we're not going to go anywhere. I don't care who you are. If that defense is just the bottom of the barrel, we're not going anywhere. But we have guys who I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing play on this field, especially the second week. I want to see if Crosby gets some stats piled up. I want to see Chandler Jones make some noise. I want to see if Abrams continues to play good, smart football. But come this week 2, I think we have a great chance of winning this game. I just don't think it's going to be a blowout like everybody thinks it is. I think Raiders play to the they play to their opponents. And I think this is going to be a closer game than usual, but hopefully I could breathe a sigh of relief and don't have to clench my butt cheeks when the last remaining 2 minutes. So I want to thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, and comment below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Who do you think is going to win, Cardinals versus Raiders? Or what do you think needs to happen for the Raiders to not only move from week 2 with a W, but move forward in general? Is this team ready if they hit all the right beats? You know what I mean? If O-line's actually doing good, Carr steps up and does an MVP season, do they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl? Or is the Raiders defense, was that a fluke week 1 that they played good, or can they do it again against this Cardinals offense? So I'm Dan the Man, Down Son. Be sure to subscribe, like the video.